your blues away. Now come, come, one and all, we'll all have a ball. Let me hear you say, hey, Bohemia, you were born under a guiding star. It doesn't matter who you are in Bohemia. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, the sun shines down on all of you.
Ooh, I'm a little red rooster. What are we talking about roosters for?
I don't know. I heard some people complained about their crowing and about the noise.
We would generally receive perhaps one complaint a week with regards to residents concerned about roosters crowing throughout the night or early in 3 o'clock in the morning kind of thing.
The thing starts off any time of the day or night. I can't hear my stereo, I can't hear my DVD player, I can't hear my MP3 player, I can't hear my cell phone.
Tests in the 60s about population density and the harm that population density causes. The disappearance of roosters is the first indicator that population density has reached levels that are dangerously harmful.
I am aware that they do get culled from time to time, and by culling I mean the council take responsibility and remove several of the roosters or hens.
And so they were removed from the sports park. And yeah, others would like to have them back.
I think it's wonderful having lots of roosters on Waiheke. I think it would be a shame not to have them at all.
I think it's a very warm sound to hear roosters going in the morning, and quite honestly I think the people who are complaining should be shot.
There seems to be a situation that exists on Waiheke where we've gone from the rural place that we have always thought the island is to more of a little dormitory of Auckland, where our friends from Auckland who live here on the weekends are annoyed by the noise of roosters crowing.
I think the council responded really quickly to my complaint about the rooster. I think it's good that they do turn out and sort these problems out for you.
The problem with Waiheke is the ratio of Waihekeans to non-Waihekeans has changed over the years. Now, what are we going to do to stop this? Can we stop this, other than shooting non-Waihekeans?
I'd also like to get rid of quite a lot of trees as well. I mean, they're dangerous. Branches falling on people, that sort of thing. And as for those beaches, well, I mean, somebody really needs to fence them off.
Birds were taken. They have been here off and on for years, and the council suddenly decided they would take our pleasure away, and our pleasure is this little corner is somewhere to stop, where people stop with their children, feed the birds and just enjoy themselves.
I think it's rather sad that people can't appreciate that these are very much part of our environment.
I think it's bloody stupid. You know, they took a bit of local flavour away.
I know some people like the roosters, but, well, look, you know, for someone like me, you know, made a bit of money, bought my dream property on Waiheke, wanted to get the rural lifestyle. I didn't think anything in the rural lifestyle involved chickens.
I was very disappointed, just as a Waiheke Islander, by the removal of the roosters from the sports park, just because they add so much colour to the environment.
Roosters have rights too, you know, and I think they should be allowed to just roam free. They do pick up a lot of rubbish and scraps from around the show, you know, and look after. They really do keep an eye on the little ones floating around. Yes.
I think lots of roosters really make the place really interesting.
They are Waiheke, the roosters. They're such beautiful creatures, and it's part of driving to the ferry. Really, is seeing the roosters.
It's just another part of life here. roosters running around the place.
I think they're part of what makes Waiheke unusual, possibly even unique. It's part of the character of the island.
They lend a bit of atmosphere.
I mean, it's part of the old Waiheke. I mean, I don't want to get precious about it, but it is special.
I come from England, so to come here and have chickens wandering across the road and just being allowed to live, and yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, that's why you come. Yeah.
It's a very laid-back place, and you know, we're really into securing this area as a sort of a natural environment, and animals is certainly part of that, and having animals running free on the side of the veg or on the grass is such a beautiful feel. It's all part of the way we are as nature. You know, we're a really loving community here, and look after our people, our animals, and yeah, I found it quite negative in wanting to take it away.
This is an island, and it's got a very unique feel about it, a very unique nature to it, and part of that is that it's a good old-fashioned community, and part of that is that we've got nice roosters, chooks, few geese who roam around and are actually here before us, if you want to get into the debate of who was here first.
The reality is it's not a priority for council, if you like. We're compelled to respond if there's a complaint, but we've got far better things to be doing with our time than to be chasing chickens around the place.
To actualize its potential. If you ask this question, you deny your inner chicken nature. Chickens over great periods of time are naturally selected in such a way that they are genetically dispositioned to cross roads. I envisage a world where chickens will cross roads without having their motives put to question.
The chickens get pretty streetwise, and those that don't last long.
We also have observed the odd pile of feathers on the road, which has indicated to us chooks have been run over.
I think a cow would win every time over a chicken.
They're natural speed bumps. The council have put up signs saying, slow down, you're here, all over the island. Why not have a few natural speed bumps?
Council's stance in that these animals are traffic hazards and noise pollution, well, I've got some fantails that were around, flitting around the cars before, and they're a real traffic hazard. And the tuis and the bellbirds in the morning, they just create such a noise that I'm sure someone's going to be starting to complain about that.
I just think it's absolutely crazy. It's just crazy. It's just so crazy.
It can be a hazard, though, if there are motorists wanting to get to the ferry on time.
There are ducks and pukekos and horses and children, and we have no footpaths. The roosters are not the danger. The cars on Waiheke are the danger.
You've got to be able to stop whatever the obstruction in the road. It could be a kid, not a rooster. Just to say they're a hazard because they're in the road, there's lots of things in the road. It's Waiheke.
Sometimes you have to slow down quite a bit if they're just strolling across the road.
And they'd wander across the road, you slow down, you let them go, and you carried on.
Yeah.
You know.
We have noticed how, on occasion, motorists going to Matiatia have slowed down to allow the chooks to cross the road. And that's very safety conscious of the drivers that do that.
Well, they've been captured, haven't they? And rounded up and put in a pound like dogs, like mangy, rabid dogs. And fair enough, because they're wild and feral roosters, and I know they're extremely dangerous and will attack you, you know, if you just even look at them. If they're ferocious beasts. Are they huge? They're the big ones, aren't they? The giant ones that eat cars?
What's that about?
They did eat my car.
They did.
I was going past.
That's
and
right.
they
It just
ate
leapt out and ate it.
Leapt out
and the
ate
thing. The way they throw themselves at the jumbo jets that fly over is probably the reason that they've been captured, which is fine, you know.
Generally, the roosters are rounded up by the animal control contractor on the island and taken to the pound. My understanding is the normal rule is that animals are held there for a minimum of 7 days, and they can be claimed by the public, and if the public are able to show that they're going to be housed appropriately, then they can uplift them, and if they're not claimed within a reasonable period of time, generally about a week or 2 weeks, they're then euthanased.
We've got a special on chicken at the moment. We sell lots of them. We would like to sell a lot more local produce, but it doesn't quite work like that.
The position that Council has with regards to poultry on the island is really one of applying the legislation that's currently in force, the Animal Welfare Act and the Auckland City Consolidated Bylaw, which has a bunch of rules in regards to poultry on the island.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried about the way the council treats the population of Waiheke as if it's Auckland City. And I'm sure that they've dusted off a local bylaw that's come from Auckland City to say that we can't have roosters hanging about, which is one of the things we all love about the island.
There's a section of the community that view Waiheke as being quite different to Auckland City. That is demonstrated in some of our bylaws. The dog control laws, for example, are quite different from Auckland City.
I think I see as editor of the newspaper is that this is a far wider issue for which the roosters are simply a symbol, and that is the issue of an island with an established character having that eroded essentially by a council which has very little consideration for a small semi-rural community that it took over under amalgamation in 1989.
The local community obviously have a pretty strong view of this, and it appears to me that there's potentially some conflict between some sections of the community that like to see the rural kind of element and chickens on the side of the road, if you like.
A hark back to the older days when there was a lot of rural and animal noises.
And some other parts of the community who see Waiheke as simply being another suburb of Auckland City.
Yeah, darling, hit another one, I'm afraid. Dented the front of the Cherokee, but cock o' van tonight, I think.
So the roosters are just an emblem for an incredibly pent-up frustration that Waiheke people feel over the way administratively local bodies have handled them since amalgamation in 1989.
There's obviously some conflict there, and it may be time to reconsider the way that the rules are worded.
We have much greater issues on the island than roosters. Obviously, the development of Matiatia is a key one, and the way the council appears in the view of islanders to be colluding with the developers to create a totally inappropriate development for Matiatia.
It symbolises the last bit of independence that is being taken away and slowly eroded by the influx of big money and gym palaces.
We're busy people, whatever they think of us on the mainland. We don't have a lot of time and we do what we can on these issues, but when something like the roosters comes up, everybody can grab that issue. It means something to them. They don't have time, ordinary people don't have time in their lives to come to grips with these incredibly complex planning issues.
As you come onto Waiheke Island, you are confronted with all sorts of things at the beginning of the wharf to chooks roaming free, which is the free spirit, I think, that is represented by the island.
I think they might symbolise, straight off the top of my head, some freedom.
They symbolise freedom.
Freedom.
I think they symbolise freedom.
Freedom, really, don't they?
Just natural freedom.
You know, it's the freedom to be what you want to be.
They symbolise freedom.
Definitely freedom, because roosters just can't be caught properly anyway these days.
Chester lives in memory on the wall. Look at that. Look at that. It's even got a little bit of a Chester lock.
I was following the saga actually of Chester / Lewis the Legs being caught, and it had taken I think it was about 3 weeks at the stage that I had decided to offer my services. And apparently, like, he'd been chased around this area by 3 or 4 guys at one stage and not really landed. And asked permission of the establishment whether I could get hold of Chester, and walked out the door. He was across the road at the time. Of course, the Bagurka was in full flow, and he must have copped that. He must have felt that brotherhood, because as soon as he spied me, he just walked straight across the road down to right on the edge over there, and came up to have a bit of a chat. So I thought I'd better have a chat to him. So crouched down, and we got chatting, you know, a bit of and a bit of, and he sort of motioned to me that he wanted something to eat. So flicked him I think it was a pebble, and as he was going for it, bang, got him by the neck and under the arm. He flapped and fluttered a bit and gave me a bit of and but once he was under the arm, he was my mate, and he sat in the van all the way to his new home, and he seemed very comfortable there, that's for real.
From Waiheke's point of view, we're very liberal and open to all sorts of anomalies in nature, and I think the roosters being set free in areas like that are one of those little anomalies.
We've got to have the roosters back, you know. We've got to have the bick going on in the streets. More bick.
The geese are a different bloody story, because they shit everywhere.
Oh, okay.
You know, and boy, do they make a mess. There was...
You're not too sorry to see the back of the geese?
No, not really.
Awful things, I had them all gassed. Yes, hang on to the Monsanto shares.